Now pretty much every market analysis I make, at some point I'm like, there's a lot going on in the RuneScape market this month, which is true, but oh my god, this month is kind of on another level, and that's due to one main thing, Project Rebalance. Jagex is doing one of their very rare item rebalances where they're going to be buffing and nerfing a bunch of different items, and that has triggered so many big market movements, and it's time we talk about it. Now there are a ton of proposed changes from the Project Rebalance, but to simplify it, most of the items that we're going to be talking about today either fall into two categories: they're getting buffed or they're getting nerfed, or they're getting stronger or weaker. So this month, by far the most talked about item, the #1 trending item as well. If you come over here, you can see trending item, most people looking at it, the Scythe. The Scythe has not been changed yet, but thanks to this proposal, pretty much hit a billion GP for the first time ever since, I don't know, 2018 or something? Like, how far back do we have to go? Okay, so the summer of 2019 is the last time the Scythe was above a bill, until today. Now obviously the Scythe is incredibly volatile because this is all speculation. Sure, we do know what the change in theory is going to be. The Scythe is getting increased accuracy and is going to be kept in mind with future content releases, but still it is hard to know exactly what the power level of the Scythe is going to be after these changes. But in the last 3 months, the Scythe has pretty much doubled in value and has shot up another 200 mil or so after the announcement of the Project Rebalance. Now, another item that is getting buffed is the Elder Maul. Now, unlike the Scythe, they did not mention what they want to change about it, just that they want to make it stronger. But that alone has doubled the price of the Elder Maul, which is crazy. It went from 18 mil and it's now 39 mil, literally doubled. Now, one thing that's kind of interesting, some of these items definitely have gone up more than others, like the Elder Maul doubled in price, but the Inquisitor's armor set, which is another item that is getting buffed, only went up, I don't know, 40 mil, which is more, but from a percentage standpoint, maybe only 30%, 40%, something like that. I think that really just boils down to item rarity. The Elder Maul is a very rare item from Chambers. It's the same rarity as a Twisted Bow, but until recently it was only worth 10 mil. Even like 3 months ago, the item was only worth 10 mil. Now it's 40 mil. That's really due to how rare the item is. If it becomes strong in even one place, this item will rocket up because there's just not that many that come into the game very quickly. And the final item that's getting buffed here is actually the Soul Reaper Axe, which shot up a lot, going from 180 mil up to nearly 300 mil. That's actually crazy. This item almost doubled in value as well. Soul Reaper Axe is actually incredibly rare due to the fact that it requires 4 individual pieces to create, and it requires a single player to obtain all of them, which honestly not a lot of players are willing to do. Once again, they did not say what they're changing about the Soul Reaper Axe, only that it's going to become stronger, and just that inkling has doubled the price of this item, which is absolutely crazy. Now, if you thought RuneScape had a lot of dragons in them, well, think again, because today's video sponsor is Dragonair, and you know they must have a lot, because, well, it's in the name, guys. Download the game today by clicking the link in my description. Dragonair Silent Gods is an open-world, high fantasy RPG, but with a Western twist. Dragonair allows you to explore a massive open world alongside a huge number of monsters, items, and bosses for you to discover. Dungeons & Dragons is the world's most popular tabletop role-playing game, and Dragonair integrates gameplay inspired by Dungeons & Dragons. Things like dice roll checks, unique character creations, and even tactical grid-based battles. They've actually even recently collaborated with Dungeons & Dragons, and they've even introduced the iconic character Driz Deorden and Urtu to the game. During this collaboration, Driz and his Black Panther Gwenhar will have an independent and complete storyline. This game is incredibly popular with over 10 million downloads worldwide, which claims the top spot in more than 10 regions ever since its launch. The game is available to play on Windows, Mac, Steam, and even Epic, as well as on Android and iOS, and I would highly recommend giving it a try. Simply click the link in my description to download the game, join myself as well as other D&D legends in Dragonair today, and thank you to Dragonair for sponsoring. Now that's it for all of the buffs, but some items are going to become weaker as well, and you would expect that would lower the price of those items, and that is the case, but to start off I actually want to talk about one thing here, the Occult Necklace. The Occult Necklace is going to be getting nerfed, and the 10% magic damage bonus is going to be somewhat spread out over some other pieces of magic gear. Now because the Occult Necklace is so cheap already, so common, the price of the Occult really doesn't matter that much. It didn't really change at all, honestly. But the interesting discussion here is, where is that magic damage percent power going to? Well, there's two items that I think a lot of people are speculating on, one of them being the Eternal Boots, which have gone up a lot today and just this week in general. Eternal Boots are nearly at 10 mil for the first time like ever, I don't know. I don't think these boots have ever been worth much more than 5 mil for the history of the game, pretty much. But right now, if you bought a pair of Eternal Boots, they would be 9 million gold. And this really just boils down to people speculating that some of that magic damage percent bonus is going to be put onto the Eternal Boots, which does make some logical sense. Because right now, Eternal Boots don't really do that much at all. They're technically best in slot, but only because no other item is better than it. And the other main item that I've seen a lot of people speculate on, the Arcane Prayer Scroll, which is up to 8 mil for the first time in a long time. This month it's doubled in value, bringing it up to its highest point since 2019 or something like that. And once again, I think this boils down to players thinking that Augury might get some of that percent magic damage baked into the prayer from this rebalance. Now, a lot of items have gone up from the rebalance changes, but there's a few that have tanked tremendously. The biggest one, I think, being the Voidwaker. The Voidwaker has crashed so hard, actually lost almost half of its value this month. Now, the project rebalance was announced on the 7th, and since then it's dropped from 130 mil down to 86 mil, which is a really significant drop. I know it was already kind of trending downwards since October, so this is kind of just a nail in the coffin for the Voidwaker. Once again, we don't actually know what they want to change about it. The only hint that they have given is that they think the Voidwaker's guaranteed damage is problematic for future content. And finally here we have the Osmunten's Fang, which is also getting nerfed, but hasn't actually dropped that much. It's dropped from 30 mil to 25 mil or something like that. And once again, I think this boils down to item rarity. Yes, the Fang is an incredibly strong weapon, and nerfing it is of course going to affect the price, but I think the price of the Fang is driven more just by how common it is than its relative item power. There are so many Fangs coming into the game from TOA, and while the nerf is pretty significant to its slash effectiveness, it's still going to be a powerful and desirable weapon, and there are literally thousands traded every day, so the price is just really not going to be affected as much. Okay, so we're now going to look at a couple more miscellaneous items. One that is really interesting to me, the Blood Essence. Now, the Blood Essence was added in with Nex, but ever since the Tombs of Masket, it has bottomed out at ALC value pretty much ever since that update came out. Until last week, I have no idea what's happened, but you can look at, for ever since TOA, it's been at pretty much the lowest it can physically get, but for whatever reason, on December 10th, the Blood Essence doubled in price and has been hovering about double ALC value for most of this week. Very interesting. Why out of nowhere did Blood Essence jump up? It's quite strange for this to happen all of a sudden. Kind of hard to say why this has happened. My random guess would be that with a lot of players on the league right now, not playing the main game, the supply of Blood Essence has been cut pretty hard because the ways you get it are Tombs of Masket and Nex, and those are, sure they are bottable, but they're not as common to bot as something like Blood Runes or something, which is dead simple. So the demand for Blood Essence remained the same, but less supply due to players moving over to leagues would be my guess. Which seems really random to me. Another interesting item this month, it's gotta be the Zamorak Godsword. This item actually became the most expensive of the Godswords at the beginning of December for the first time ever, I'm pretty sure. Look how expensive the Zamorak Godsword is compared to like 2017, 3 mil. Even the beginning of the year was only about 5 mil. But December 3rd it hit 30 million gold for the first time ever, but why? Well, thanks to the newly added changes to the Chambers of Xeric, freezing the Muttadials is a lot more effective, and the only way to freeze the big Muttadials with a Zamorak Godsword, so it's become a lot more desirable, and that has had a significant effect on the price. Now, as far as new items, we actually got quite a lot this month with the release of the Trailblazer Reward Shop. With it, we got all of the new cosmetic items, which released on November 28th. For example, here's the Bulwark Ornament Kit. Started off at about 12 mil, currently hovering around 6 mil. The Vengeance Scroll is now about 5 mil, still falling pretty quickly. The blowpipe ornament kit around 4 mil. Most of the new items have fallen very quickly, and I think that's because Trailblazer Reloaded was one of, if not the most popular league, and probably generated the most amount of points out of any of the previous leagues. So if you look at kind of older rewards as well, they've fallen a lot. The Twisted Blueprint fell about 50%. Twisted Horns, those are down as well. Pretty much all of the league-related uniques have fallen by about half. Now, one thing that has not fallen, in fact, it's hit an all-time high, is the Twisted Bow. This thing's trading right now for 1.55 billion, which I think is the most expensive price ever. This item just continues to trend upwards, so it appears that even though they've made some changes to make chambers more accessible, objectively a bit easier to do, it's actually only increased demand for these items, and they keep trending upwards. And finally, let's have a look at the old Screw and Skate Bond. This thing has been all over the place, very consistently going above 10 mil. Like earlier today, it hit 10.5 mil. Oh my god, these things are expensive. Oh my god, just look at that. It's barely dropped at all since 2022. There's not really much to say about it. It's just probably going to continue to go upwards. I like to look at it every time though. Anyway guys, that's going to be it for the market analysis. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.